So our students take exams very seriously, and an erasure of years of study notes on the eve of an exam date must have been horrifying for so many of them. Because the mobile guardian has full control over the devices, including to remote wipe the device, it is more akin to a corporate managed device which should be regularly backed up by MOE in case of a malicious data attack. Did MOE take backups of the data on student devices during the time that Mobile Guardian was installed? Secondly, the Minister mentioned that there was a VAPT, Vulnerability Assessment and Penetration Test, conducted on 30th June after the vulnerabilities were reported by the member of the public. Was this a full VAPT, and were all the vulnerabilities discovered patched before the August cyber attack? And was there a VAPT conducted on Mobile Guardian before it was first rolled out?
Any software as a system before we acquired the thing. And by the way, I think nowadays all of us use software as a service. Sorry, not software as a system, software as a service, SaaS. So today, in all our devices, in all our mobile devices or otherwise, we have such things down there. Before we acquire a service, we do various tests and we make sure that the various systems are also up to the international standards, and that is what we do before we subscribe to any service. Similar to Mobile Guardian, similar to other services, we look at the price quality matrices to see which service meets our needs and is at a price that is reasonable for our needs. So the first one. The second one is that in any penetration test, be it the one in June or subsequent to it, whenever there's a penetration test and the results are found, then there will be a series of patches that will be implemented progressively to fix the issues. So what we can say is that the issues that were found in June onwards, June, July onwards, were progressively being fixed. Did any of these contribute directly or indirectly to the subsequent cyber attack? I will not be able to comment on this at this point in time until the full forensic is out. On your first supplementary question, I think it's an important lesson that we are all, in an era where we are all dependent on technology to regularly back up our own system. And I would say that even before technology comes about, even once upon a time when we take notes with pen and paper, I think we also do the necessary backup because it's just a good habit for us to do so. Now, having said that, then we also know, just as how we manage our own personal devices and government devices, there are two levels of backup. Every one of us have to do our own individual backup on certain parts of the notes that we want, and there are also system-level backup on the system-level issues. But it will not be possible for the system to back up the individual one all the time, because the individual, you need to decide what you want to back up, right? You need to decide. So you take a smartphone as an example. I'm quite sure all of us will store some things in our smartphones, right? We will back up what we want in a smartphone, be it photos or notes. But it won't be that Apple will back up everything for us unless you do an auto everything that you back up onto the cloud storage. And this is the reason why most of our students, the vast majority of our students, have been able to back up their notes and information on the cloud, and most of them were able to recover most of the information. There's only a very small percentage of students who were unable to recover it because they did not back up individually, and those parts of the things were not back up, and it's the numbers I've given in my answer.
I would like to ask the Minister whether are there any learning points from this episode with respect to the service provider assessment process?
Mr. Speaker, sir, yes, there are various learning points. I think when we contract for software as a service, we all know that there will be certain risks involved when we subscribe to any of these software as a service. So that's a given. In the selection process, I think one of the things that in any agencies, government or commercial, that we must be conscious is we can make a choice between two extremes. One is subscribe to a service that is generally available but not customized. It may not meet your needs, but it may be more accessible. The other one is that you can try to make it much more customized according to your needs, but you require a unique solution. And somewhere between these two, you must find that balance, because both sides have risks. Whether you use a publicly accessible or widely accessible software as a service solution, which has its pluses and minuses, you can change much faster, you can evolve much faster because the subscriber base is much bigger, but you may not have all the services you require. You go for a customized service, you might not have all the services and the updates as fast as you want because it's much more customized according to your needs. So somewhere between these two, we must always find a balance according to the different risk profile and the different needs.
May I ask the Minister whether there was any vulnerability assessment and penetration testing carried out on the app prior to the deployment of the app, whether such testing were carried out regularly before the April incident, and moving forward, will MOE ensure that such testing should be carried out on a regular basis for such apps? Thank you.
Minister Chan.
Mr. Speaker, the answer is yes. I've said in my answer that depending on the security level of the different systems, we have different tiers of vulnerability testing regularly.